All right, so I would go straight to today's uh, tutorials. I have sent the slides and the link for the tutorials to our noble uh, members. So I believe by now we all have a share of that. So basically, just as said, we are going to talk about informed decision making in Africa using data science storytelling. And my presentation runs through from introduction, then through to data analysis. So we'll look at some storytelling as a knowledge transfer tool in Africa. Then we'll talk about the role of data science in making decisions. We'll again look at data storytelling techniques, statistical tools, its overviews, and then some case study in Africa. So when we talk about storytelling or using storytelling as a tool for translating data into insights, then we are looking at informed decision-making to the process of using data-driven insights to guide choices in governance, business, and social development. So this helps to ensure that policies and strategies are based on empirical evidence rather than assumptions. And it helps to reduce errors and increases efficiency. So in this situation, we are trying to leverage data science, helping to better improve the challenges and access to risk, and also try to help maximize solutions in our systems. So in Africa, of course, there are limited resources. So informed decision-making can help allocate resources more effectively to maximize impact. So recently, there has been some brouhaha in our system in terms of mining activities trying to destroy or pollute our water bodies. So this is quite an interesting research linking to the case study, of course, in Ghana and other African countries. So we are looking at the role of data science in decision making. Of course, we know data science has come to stay, and it helps analyze large volumes of data to identify trends and patterns that are not immediately observed, and it enables predictive insights. So it incorporates techniques like machine learning and statistical analysis. Then, of course, data visualization to generate actionable insights for various sectors. So the combination of narrative elements with analytics to communicate complex information in an understandable and then a relatable way is what we are, of course, looking at. Then, of course, the effective storytelling, of course, enhances the engagements and intentions, re-intentions, making data more actionable for decision makers, leading to better adoption of such words, insights. So currently, there are a lot of tools which are being used to make meaning to data, especially where it is quite difficult for us to get raw data or get a secondary data to deal with. We use some of these tools like the drones to capture some of this information. Then we communicate it to make meaning for stakeholders. So there are some key sectors which data science storytelling has made a lot of impact. And we cannot do away with the public health, especially the use of AI-driven diseases, and then tracking of antimicrobial resistance, which helps to improve resource allocation for healthcare intervention. So recently in Ghana, the use of drone is very powerful. So we try to use some of these drones to deliver drugs to various places, especially in the rural areas where facilities are quite difficult to reach. And sometimes, due to emergencies, drones are being used to deliver drugs and even blood to various health for emergency situations. Then the other one we would, of course, look at is the climate adaptation. So here we are using or the use of predictive models to forecast droughts, floods, and other climate-related hazards. This helps communities prepare and then adapt. So sometimes we would want to, of course, plant crops and then cultivate or else some animals, but due to some of these climate changes, if we are able to use some of these tools to come up with better models to predict such, then we believe that it is going to help, of course, many communities prepare and adapt to such change. Then AI policy and governance. So recently, due to, of course, technology, advancement in technology, AI has also come to stay, and governments or governances are adapting such scenarios to shaping some of these regularities and the ethical framework to ensure that there's responsible and inclusive of AI adaptations in our system. Last but not the least is education. So we are saying AI-empowered adaptive learning systems for personalized education experience. And we can link this to the COVID. When this kind of pandemic occurred, we could remember that at that point, e-learning was booming almost all over the world, and it has come to stay. Gone are the days where we need to, be in classrooms daily to learn, to pursue our masters and stuff. Now, we do it both online and then face-to-face for defense and stuff. So it has become a hybrid of both situation, which has improved our educational systems in Africa and, of course, the world at large. The next thing I want us to, of course, look at is traditional storytelling in African communities. Yes, so we came to meet some of these traditionalists and how they try to make impact. Growing up from one indigenous place in Ghana, where you would be told the things you are supposed to do when you see your elders, you need to bow, and some of these cultural practices and values has come to stay. And through some of this storytelling, this culture values and then history are being passed on from generation to generation. So, for example, Tanzania, our storytelling tradition in early childhood education emphasizes on moral lessons, critical thinking, and then language skills, preparing children for formal education. So storytelling has really become very, very powerful tool, which we are not looking at when it comes to research. Then I believe that in Africa, when we focus more on some of these things, we would be able to solve most of our problems rather than sometimes trying to gather data in some ways which are quite challenging to deal with. Because most of these situations are quite political, and it's quite difficult for us to deal with some of this situation. So I believe that when we combined these concepts in our analysis, we would come up with better solutions in dealing with issues affecting Africa. The next thing we want to, of course, look at is the role of data science in decision making. So how data collection and processing for decision making comes in. So we are looking at the data sources, and with data source, we can get it from so many angles: through government records, private sector databases, through satellites, images, and then Internet of Things sensors, social media, and of course, citizen generated data. So this is quite crucial. But to us, whether we are able to make access to all these forms of data is quite questionable. So there are some basic challenges when it comes to data collection in such a manner. So in ensuring data quality, removing of biasness and dealing with inconsistencies that may arise from different data collection methods are quite the challenging aspect of it. Then the next thing we, of course, are looking at is the processing techniques. So data must be cleaned. We need to clean our data. When I talk about cleaning of data, sometimes you might have some missing data and outliers in data set where you need to deal with them using some specific scenarios. Then structured and analyzed to ensure accuracy and reliability before using decision making. So we need to, of course, sometimes look at our even sampling techniques based on the research we are looking at. And this is quite very, very important because when it comes to the softwares, we say garbage in, garbage out. So we need to restructure some of these phenomena to deal with such situation before we can come up with better decision making. So example, we can talk about data-driven urban planning in Africa cities, of course, which has improved traffic management, reducing congestion and then pollution. So at first, in my country, for example, it was quite difficult for accessibility of roads. But now things are getting better, and then planning of buildings as well, how some of these real estates are coming up to beautify the environment. So people who have really been to Ghana before, specifically Accra, you could see that there are some special areas like we call such places the Legon places where buildings are well planned. And it's due to some of this technology in the use of AI. So when we look at data collection, then we are gathering information from diverse sources such as health reports, market research, and climate census. Then the analysis here is about identifying patterns, relationships, and anomalies that can inform policy and strategy. The next thing we need to, of course, look at is when it comes to data visualization. So the market woman wouldn't be sometimes able to interpret some of these values, the figures, the numerical values. So we need to put them in charts to be able to demonstrate to them that, of course, due to this pie chart, you are looking at maybe 70% of our commodities going to this side, and then maybe 40% coming to the other side, depending on whatever research of interest. Narrative development. So crafting a compiling story around the data to make it accessible and actionable for stakeholders. So this is quite crucial, and it's making a lot of in-depth knowledge when it comes to data decision making. In this situation, we are looking at expertise in such field who can be able to narrate what is happening on grounds, rather than sometimes gathering data where sometimes these gathered data are being, they are being figured. So when I say they are being figured, then I mean sometimes they are being touched, okay? They are being massaged, which may not speak to the real things happening on grounds. But sometimes when we go in the narrative, very nice story mimicking what is happening on grounds. Then the next is how decision implications or decision implementations are being considered. So using insightful insights to guide policy and business strategies, measuring impacts, and then refining approach over time. Then the use of AI, machine learning, and predictive analytics in storytelling. So as I rightly said machine learning has come to stay, and AI models can detect patterns in large data sets that humans might overlook, and it leads to more accurate and then timely decision making. Then again, we can look at some predictive analytics, which helps to forecast trends such as disease outbreaks, economic shifts, and climate patterns, improving preparedness and then response effectively. And this particular scenario came in mind when COVID hit the world, the global world. And you could see that due to some of this preparedness, which wasn't there, you could see that most countries suffered the shock in terms of their economy. So AI models are predicting housing markets fluctuations in Africa, helps developers and investors make informed decisions. The challenges in data collection and its accessibility. So inconsistent data quality and coverage. So many regions lack standardized data collection methodologies. So as I rightly said, how the data is being collected, the sampling technique which are being used is very, very important here, which may sometimes be inconsistent depending on the people on ground. Sometimes from government and private, you could see that kind of cohesion which are not agreeing per the data collected. So this is quite a challenge. The limited internet penetration in rural areas. So in the rural areas where there are no technology advancements there, it affects data access and then digital literacy. Then the last but not the least is ethical concerns. Okay, so some cultural practices do not allow, people to make such kind of interactions with the community or the stakeholders in such community. So data privacy and security issues require stronger regulatory framework, which sometimes cause a lot of issues when it comes to data collection and its accessibility. So some solutions for improving data quality and availability, we are looking at investments in cloud-based data storage solutions to improve accessible and security. And this can be done through the use of AI. Then public-private partnerships to enhance data sharing policies, reducing fragmentation. So as I rightly said, sometimes due to some of this cohesion, it doesn't really speak well. The private person might give a different results, while the public person might also give a different results in relation to political ambitions. Then the other one we can look at, which is training programs to improve data literacy among policymakers, businesses, and community. And this, I can stress on that this is what LISA has taken place, and I am one of the beneficiaries from these training programs from LISA, which is making a lot of impact in the global world. So effective visualization for decision making, where we look at charts and infographics and dashboards, helps improve data comprehension. So the use of storytelling techniques to present insights effectively. Then, of course, some case study here is the data-driven story in COVID-19 response management. So the AI-driven data interpretation, where AI automates data analysis, making sense of large data faster, reduce biasness, and enhance accuracy in decision making. Example is the AI in financial markets analysis for investment decision support. And these are some of the statistical tools and AI techniques, which, of course, is being used in the practical link sent. So here we are looking at multivariate analysis tools. We are looking at the MANOVA, and it is used when testing differences across multiple dependent variables for +2 groups. Okay, and here you are looking at a data type, which is multiple continuous dependent variables and some categorical independent variables. Then we can talk about the cluster analysis, which is being used using grouping similar observations into clusters without predefined categories. And you could see from each of these tools stated and some specific data type, then when it is supposed to be used. So brushing through straight to factor analysis, we could see identifying underlying latent factors, explaining correlation pattern. So here you are looking at continuous correlated variables. And all these are very, very instrumental tools which are being used for such purposes. The other thing we need to look at is regression models. Regression models, we normally, sometimes, especially teaching our undergraduates, we underestimate this particular method, but it is a very, very powerful technique which we need to look at here. So here, under the tools, we are looking at linear regression, where it can be used modeling linear relationship between dependent variable and independent variables. So here, the data type, you are looking at a continuous dependent variable versus continuous or categorical independent variables. Then we can talk about the polynomial regression, where it is being used to model nonlinear relationship using polynomial terms and the data type. So running through to elastic nets, where we are combining L1 and L2. So with L1 and L2, we are looking at the ridge logistic and then the lasso logistic here, looking at the penalties for feature selection. And with the data type, we are looking at the continuous dependent variable versus some multiple correlated independent variables. Still on the regression models, where we have support vector regression running through to Bayesian regression. Now, Bayesian regression has become a very powerful tool here in data analysis, because here it incorporates what we call the the knowledge and uncertainty quantification. And here we are looking at some continuous dependent variables with various independent variable types. And it is becoming quite interesting in our current research. The next tool here is the analysis of variance, where we call the ANOVA, where we have the one-way ANOVA, the two-way ANOVA, which also examines effective of two independent factors and their interaction. So here you are looking at a continuous dependent variable with two categorical independent variables. Then with the time series models, we of course are looking at the ARIMA models, where we have the difference in here, the autoregressive and then the moving average in combination with the data type, which is continuous time series. Running through that, we move to what we call the SARIMA, which adds what we call the seasonal patterns to the ARIMA. Then we can talk about the vector autoregression, which uses the multivariate time series, where variables depends on their own and other lags. Then some specific distributions are specified here. So with the continuous, we have the normal, which is the same as the Gaussian, running through to the Cauchy with their specific data types. We have the beta running through to the F distribution with their specific data types. Then some specific discrete probability distributions from the Bernoulli distribution running through to the geometric with their specific data types as indicated. The negative binomials running through to the multinomial with their used and then their data types. Then survival analysis and advanced modeling, which with our first tutorials, if we can recall, this survival analysis was really treated by one expertise from our midst during our first tutorials. And these are some of the models which are being used under the survival analysis with their data types. So with the case study in Africa, we are looking at the climate adaptation, which is predicting drought and then floods. So with climate change intensifying extreme weather events in Africa, AI-driven early warning systems are helping government and farmers prepare. So sites or satellite data combined with what machine learning, forecast droughts and then floods, enabling timely intervention. So for instance, in Kenya, we have the AI models
Hello, is there any technical issue?
I can't hear him either.
I think he's back.
Okay.
Yes, sorry for that, please. So here we are looking at countries like Ghana and Rwanda are now leading effective in drafting AI governance policies. That balances innovation with ethical consideration, ensuring AI benefits all our community fairly in such countries. So recently I saw this particular concept, which one of our biggest universities in Ghana, that is KNUST, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, coming up with a very nice robotic system in balancing our agricultural system. So the real estate concept, the African real estate sector is rapidly involved with AI transformation, properties valuation, and then market prediction. So recently, most of our properties are being registered. When it comes to Ghana, most of our properties are being registered and then tracked. So at any point in time, they can be able to locate whatever is ongoing. So you will be there, and then people in charge will be coming around to write on your buildings if you don't have the permits. So all this are using the concept of AI to improve the systems. Then in Nigeria, the AI-driven platforms provide buyers and then investors with data-backed insights, improving decision-making in real estate. So education has also given a very touch on it in terms of reshaping education by tailoring learning experience to individual students, just as I linked that to the situation which triggered during the COVID situation. So here, the variables considered, we looked at the countries involved. We are looking at Ghana, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Kenya, then South Africa, running through with these various variables: average temperature, rainfall, groundwater, population, the GDP, then the climate, with their specific synthesis identified. So this is the descriptive statistics of the data set used, and the values ranging from, of course, -1 to 1 with their correlation as well. Then the colors here, the red, the blue, shows the strong correlation, and then the strong negative correlation, positive, and then the white or light shows weak or no correlation. And the heat map we have, it is showing the correlation between these various variables considered. So it can be observed here that the correlation between the average temperature and rainfall is plus 0.85, which shows a warmer country tend to have more rainfall. And the average correlation between temperature and then the groundwater level is minus 0.93, showing a hotter region may have shallower or groundwater, likely due to high recharge or more water demand. Then the relation between the GDP per capita and the climate risk is also minus 0.95, showing a strong negative correlation. So here it shows that such countries have lower climate risk, showing economic resilience. So this is what is happening, and per the generated equation, or the equation model shows how different factors contribute to the climate risk, and a higher rainfall and a deeper groundwater level increase, of course, risk. And then it's likely due to flood vulnerability and water. The other hand, the high capita per capita here shows strongly reduced climate risk, and is showing that such economic strength improve resilience. Such. All right, so this is the indication. So from the figure, Nigeria, Nigeria and then Ethiopia, they really have high risk. So they have a high risk of climate when it comes to the study conducted. Then South Africa with a lighter shade and small circles suggest lower risk, climate risk, and moderate population. So this ends the presentation. So I would, of course, try to share the tutorial link. Once again, let me share the link. Just a minute, please. Having internet issues. Yes, so the link shared gives a general analysis of all the things shared on the slide today. And when you go to the link on your left, your extreme left, we have some 3 bars there. When you click on it, it gives you the basic things which has been demonstrated in the slides. Please, can you see my screen? I don't know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, please. So when you go to the extreme left, when you click on the 3 bars, it gives you all the information, the processes, how you need to go through, how you need to clean your data, how you need to perform your exploratory statistics, how some of these multivariate techniques were considered. Both multivariate techniques, we have the 1 and 2. All the regression models considered in the slides can be shown on this particular link sent. Then when it comes to the assumptions, then of course the performance of each model with the various techniques as indicated in the slide, can all be seen here. So when I click on my data cleaning, it should take me there. Yes, so it gives me this particular platform where I can have access to this concept. So the tool he used here is the RStudio. So everything has been done, how I can install my R, the packages I need for my analysis, all has been shown here, and the processes I go through, the problem I
I think it's off again.
Yes, so sorry about the network interaction. So this has been packaged in this particular experiment or analysis you would want to, of course, do. I don't know why my internet is giving me problems, but we are managing. So this particular link was created from 2023 and it is accessible. So when I take the multivariate analysis, for example, how the clustering analysis has been done with each various description with the data sets has been done, how we looked at the discriminant analysis, the various multivariate techniques which has been used, has been explained and then documented, and the type of, the packages you need to load, all has been done here. So due to time, I wouldn't want to perhaps go through all this because there are many, and at any point in time, we can all have access to this particular link. The link is free. For now, what I'll say is, in order to expand some of this research to incorporate some of the techniques, we are looking for sponsorships to see how best we can expand this research to other places. Thank you very much, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Moderator, thank you so much.